Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pony and Wolf Productions video. My name is visualbrony and today we are reading the story T plus 769 Days by Monochromatic. I have a feeling that we have had this author on the channel before. I'm not entirely sure, but hey, I'm open for everything. I mean, everyone can be a great author, right? I just liked the premise of this story. As always, I have not previewed it, so I will discover it alongside you guys. Last thing before I start narrating it for you, please consider subscribing to the channel. I know it is annoying that I say this every time nowadays, but it really helps us out, really helps us in the algorithm, and it is a free way to support us. So let's get into the story. A conundrum. For most of her life, Rarity had dreamt of the day she'd finally be the determined age to receive her soulmate timer. It was also a rather nerve-wracking thing to think about. What if she was destined to meet her soulmate the same day she received the timer? That would be so little time to prepare. Ideally, the timer would let her know she had 1 or 2 months left. Something akin to T-46 days or something of the sort. That was short enough that the wait wouldn't be unbearable, but long enough that she could work on her physique a bit and get everything ready so as to impress her beloved. Admittedly though, when she finally received it the day after her birthday, she hadn't expected her timer to be in the positive numbers. T plus 769? T plus? Plus? She stared at the counter on her foreleg, flabbergasted. What did that even mean? Had she already met them? Was that it? If that was it, then she was ruined. How in Celestia's name was she supposed to remember who she met 769 days ago? She met dozens of ponies a month because of her job, and she was now supposed to remember some ponies she met stars knows how long ago? That was impossible. Ridiculous! It wasn't as if she had Twilight's exceedingly impressive memory. Wait. Twilight, darling dearest, are you here? I'm sorry for coming over unannounced, but I need you. Rarity stepped into Golden Oak's library, more than a little distraught as she called out to her friend. I'm in the living room, Rarity! Twilight! She exclaimed, rushing over and indeed finding the unicorn sitting in the living room, as well as a particular pink pony. A chessboard was placed in between them. Oh, hello, Pinky dear. Hi, Rarity! Are you here to play chess with us? No, I'm afraid not. I actually have to ask Twilight something. Twilight perked up, always eager to help. Oh? What do you need to ask me? Is this about the dress you're making for Duke Gold Lining? Oh, no, I finished it yesterday after the party. You were right when you said the green fabric was softer, by the way. I'll have to show it to you later. Oh, good. Twilight replied, pleased. And, what did you want to ask then? Do you remember if I met some pony important 769 days ago? A second passed. Pinky frowned thoughtfully. 769 days ago? This was shortly followed by Twilight blurting out a simple, what? Do you remember if I met some pony important 769 days ago? No, I heard that, Rarity. Twilight replied. Why would I know that? I don't know, Twilight. Rarity whined. Because you're one of my dearest friends, and because you know everything. You know more about my life than I know about my life for some reason. Twilight arched an eyebrow playfully. For some reason? You mean that you come over for tea 5 times a week and we talk for hours? See? That's precisely my point. So I'd have told you who I met back then, and you would remember, and you would tell me now. So why aren't you telling me? Because I don't know! A great gasp filled the room and both mares turned to look at Pinkie Pie. I know who you met that day! She exclaimed, standing up and bouncing in place. Rarity and Twilight blinked at her. You do? Uh-huh, and you girls should know too! We should? Yep! She moved over to Twilight and wrapped an arm around her.
'Cause that's when we all met Twilight and Spike, 2 years and 39 days ago.
Twilight's eyes widened.
You're right, that is the day we moved here.
She turned to Rarity.
Well, there you go. Why did you need to... Rarity?
Rarity was completely petrified, a red tinge crawling up her cheeks as she stared at Twilight.
Are you okay, Rarity?
Pinky asked.
You read a lot. Are you positive that's the day they got here?
She interrupted.
Yep,
she replied.
I'm pretty sure. We also met Nightmare Moon and Princess Celestia, but that was the next morning, so it was 768 days ago, not 69.
Well, the soulmate timers work differently for dragons, so he'd already gotten his, and she knew for a fact it was still counting down, not up. So, that meant...
Ah, I see. Right, good, yes.
She cleared her throat and then offered a charming smile.
Well, thank you, dear. I'll be off now.
To go and resync her entire relationship with Twilight Sparkle, but they didn't have to know that, of course. Soulmates could be platonic, right? Maybe that's what they were. If Rarity was even remotely interested in Twilight in any other fashion than platonic, she would have already known, right? She practically lived at Twilight's house after all, considering they understood each other so well, and she liked spending time with... oh dear.
But wait, Rarity,
Twilight blurted out.
I don't understand. Why did you need to know who you met that day? What's going on? Nothing, darling.
Rarity replied, her light blush increasing as she quickly turned around.
Really? Don't worry about it. You'll find out eventually.
She stopped and turned back.
Wait, what are you doing Saturday evening? Are you free?
Twilight blinked.
Yes, I think. Why? What's going on, Rarity? Nothing,
she said quickly before clearing her throat and inspecting her hoof.
I just think we should go get dinner together, catch up and all that. Talk about important things and about each other.
Twilight's frown deepened.
Okay.
Pinky giggled.
Gosh, Rarity, that sounds almost like a date. It's not a date.
Rarity immediately gasped, and then quickly added,
Or, it could be. I don't know, it could be whatever we want it to be. Or Twilight wants it to be. Regardless, I should be off. Goodbye, see you Saturday.
Twilight watched, completely and utterly perplexed, as Rarity sped out of the room without so much as letting her say anything.
Right,
she said after a minute.
I guess that just happened. It did. It sure did. Anyway...
Twilight turned back to her friend, clearing her throat.
Should we, continue our game? We sure should. Oh no.
Pinky jumped up and looked towards the door aghast.
I forgot to ask her. Ask her? Ask her what?
Twilight asked, alarmed.
About her soulmate timer, silly. Yesterday was her birthday, so she should have gotten it today.
Deflated, she sat back down, pouting.
No, I don't know how many times she's left on her timer until the next time I see her.
With a great sigh, she sadly moved a pawn forward on the board and waited. And waited. And waited. Until half a minute had passed and Twilight hadn't done anything.
You're done to it. Twilight?
To her great confusion, Twilight Sparkle was still staring at the door, eyes completely wide and cheeks bright red.
No, you're red all over too. What is going...
She cut herself off.
Oh.
She looked down at the board.
I guess we're done playing for today.
Hello and welcome back to Common Timer's Visual Pony. I'll remind you that you can support PonyWolf Productions through the links down in the description below. Every dollar helps is needed and very much appreciated and helps to keep the lights on around here. And I need those lights because the lights indicate that I have electricity, and without electricity the computer doesn't run, and without the computer the microphone doesn't work, and it's completely useless. Okay, now let's get into the story, because I don't want to advertise for micro machines because I'm not the micro machines man. And for many of you, because you are too young, but this reference will not even mean anything. I realized it the other day when I was actually editing one of those things and realized, hey, lots of my viewers will not be old enough to actually remember the Micro Machines Man. So Google it. Google the Micro Machines Man. He was actually pretty awesome. Anyhow, let's get into the meat of the story because I can't go on like this. So I kinda guessed that this was a Twilight Rarity story the moment the timer came up and all that. But Twilight's reaction at the end is kinda priceless. But also Rarity being like, hey, a soulmate can be platonic, right? Right? No, it's very unlikely that your soulmate is platonic, Rarity. You usually, if you actually find your soulmate, you end up slapping flanks. Anyhow, sincerely yours, Visual Pony, and I hope that you enjoyed this story, because I certainly did. And as always, I hope that this story finds you well in body and mind.